this video, I'd like to address the recent changes that are coming up with the Child Protection Office, specifically the replacement of the Director of the Child Protection Office. In Hindi, there is a saying that loosely translates to sooner or later you will pay the price for your courage. And everybody understands that courage comes at a price, and that's why courage is so rare, especially in this context. If you go up against somebody who is willing to abuse children, you can expect anything from them. They're clearly not people that have a very high moral compass. But what people don't seem to pay a lot of attention to is what is the cost of their silence? What cost do I pay personally, and what cost do we pay as a society for looking the other way in front of child abuse? Kamlesh Krishna Prabhu has been the director of the Child Protection Office for the last 7 years. He has managed to make an invaluable contribution. In spite of the shameful and sometimes even obstinate resistance and opposition from many senior devotees in ISKCON. Some GBCs have recently decided that Kamlesh Krishna Prabhu needs to resign, and they have not given any explanation as to why. There is no good reason offered. There is also no clarity on what is the process to appoint and fire a child protection office. The whole thing is covered in a smoke of confusion and politics. Recently, I wrote a post breaking the news that the GBC had decided to replace Kamlesh Krishna Prabhu as the director. Anuttama came out with a whitewash article on ISKCON News saying that it wasn't true, and then he pretty much went ahead and confirmed that the GBC had decided to replace Kamlesh. What's interesting about that article is that Anuttama made a list of devotees that were supposedly part of a panel that was there to decide to select the new child protection director. And these devotees had not even been contacted. They found out the same time as the rest of us that they were part of some panel that would select the new director. In other words, the panel didn't exist until Anuttama felt pressed that the news was out, and he was trying to legitimize what the GBC had done behind closed doors by saying, no, we're not doing it. We've got a panel. We haven't talked to the guys on the panel yet. They don't know that they're on the panel, but we're making a panel. Now, one of the names on that panel, I found out that Pancharatna, the director of the India CPO, is on that panel. Now, Pancharatna is very new to child protection. What little we do know about him is that he's been a diehard supporter of Lokanath.
That ICC does not accept the ICPO, not only this case at all. We have no. Okay. We don't accept the ICPO. So if you want to include them, they decide whatever they like, but we're not going to follow. We don't accept that as a body. We don't accept the leader, Kamlesh Krishna, and we don't accept that as a body. That's one point.
And that the way he handled his first official visit to the Vrindavan Gurukul was concerning, to say the least. I have zero confidence that someone like Pancharatna is going to select a new director that will prioritize the interest of child protection.
But it's a bit of better news, is that we presented to Kamlesh that, our idea of having the panel evaluate first.
About a year ago, a video came out, was leaked with Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, where he was having a conversation, and he was saying that the GBC had decided to get the CPO to sign off on Lokanath's exoneration, which never happened. So my guess is that essentially the GBC is replacing the CPO director because he's not corrupt, because he's not willing to legitimize their dirty politics.
Then, then we'll just see what the panel says. And if the panel somehow says that, whatever has been done is enough, then as long as the GBC accepts that, then that's it.
The GBC's arbitrary decision to replace Kamlesh Krishna is cause for grave concern. It stinks of corruption. It is also a warning to the next CPO director. You better dance in lockstep or you're going to be fired. We will not tolerate a child protection director who prioritizes the protection of children over our political whims. That is the message the GBC is giving out. The recent interest in the Lokanut case gave the GBC a golden opportunity. It's like Krishna put it on a plate in front of them. He said, you made a mistake, fix it. The GBC created this ad hoc panel with which, for every intent and purpose, if we again refer to Bhakti Chaitanya Swami's conversation, the outcome of the ad hoc panel was predetermined. So the panel was just a sham, essentially.
We'll leave it at that, and whatever the panel decides, we'll go along with that.
The panel concluded that Lokanat Swami is responsible for sexually abusing an 11-year-old girl, but they decided to exonerate him.
On September 7th, ISKCON's governing body commission released its final decision regarding the 30-year-old case on the status of Loknath Swami in ISKCON. Their final decision is that his status as initiating guru continues.
They voted to keep him as a sannyasi, a guru, and a highest spiritual authority in ISKCON. The GBC went along with that. The Sabha went along with that. And now it's been passed. So what exactly happened? The ICC, which is the Indian Continental Committee, I think it stands for, essentially it's the Indian leadership. They threatened to secede. And that's what they do every time they can't get something. They say, okay, we're going to leave. And the GBC says, okay, no, don't leave. For me, what's amazing observing this is that if somebody can threaten you and you give in to their threats, you've already lost control. So you're trying to keep control of something that you've already lost, and you're allowing the Indian leaders to compromise the values of the entire society because you don't want to lose control of the Indian leadership, which you've already lost anyway. Lokanat is the elephant in the room. Until the GBC find the courage to address this case in a way that is free from corruption and favoritism, ISKCON will continue to be haunted by this case. Now we have the same Indian leadership that threatened to leave ISKCON unless ISKCON exonerated their child-abusing guru. This same Indian leadership wants their own independent child protection office. And the GBC goes along with it and says, yeah, that's a good idea. Now, just to be clear, India has the worst track record for child protection in ISKCON. In the history of ISKCON, the worst child protection track record is in India. So how can anybody reasonably expect these devotees to prioritize the protection of children? In other words, this Indian CPO comes with zero credibility. What we're witnessing is that once again, the GBCs are allowing the lives of countless Vaishnava children to be used as acceptable collateral damage in their political games. If the current GBCs and the Prabhupada disciples do not make the effort to really change this playbook on child protection in ISKCON, they're leaving a legacy of devastation to those who come after them. And it's going to be extremely difficult for the disciples that come later to say, oh, my pure devotee Uttamadhikari Guru mishandled child protection and I'm going to do it right. He made a mistake. It's going to be so much more difficult to fix this problem once the Prabhupada disciples are gone.
Anuttama Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
I wish to ask Anuttama and the GBC body how their decision to replace the most qualified CPO director we have had to date, before they even found their replacement, how this decision serves the best interest of child protection. I also want to ask them how their interference and influence over the CPO serves the best interest of the protection of children. From what we've seen so far, the Indian CPO is simply giving the illusion that children are protected. This is both dishonest and reckless. I ask the GBCs and the ISKCON leaders in India to explain to the devotee community what concrete measures they are putting in place to ensure the protection and safety of the children in the Vrindavan Gurukul and in all the Indian Gurukulas that are affiliated with ISKCON. The decisions that the GBCs made many years ago enabled the abuse of generations of Hare Krishna children. The decisions that the GBCs make today will determine the fate of future generations of Hare Krishna children. Please choose wisely. Hare Krishna.